My name is Ethan Locke, and I have been in business since 2017, where I started out as a direct sales entrepreneur, where I was working with a company selling DirecTV and Costco. I imagine you've seen those guys, very humble beginnings, I know. But that taught me a couple very important lessons. This is where I learned sales and how to approach basically anybody, be able to have conversations, and remove the fear from approaching new people just on the spot. It also taught me how to actually grow and develop a business. This was a very unique way of actually getting started in the business world because the opportunity was set up where you learn each of those 4 stages of actually running a successful business. First, you learn how to sell, then you learn how to teach others how to sell, and then you operate the business, and then you run the business, right? Now, this opportunity was something that I thrived in for as long as I possibly could have. I unfortunately had some disagreements over commission payouts with who I thought to be my partner at the time, who started as my mentor, but we're not really going to go into that. I ran this business from basically January 2017 to end of December, where I ended up parting ways and jumping into other opportunities. Now, what I dedicated my time with throughout this entire year was, all right, now that I'm learning all these very specific skills, whether I stay in this opportunity or not, the big thing at the time was generating passive income. Everyone was told, millionaires have 7 different ways that they're making money. They have 7 different businesses, 7 ways money's coming in. And when you're working a job, you're trading your time for money. And you can only do that so many times. And the message wasn't get 7 jobs. It was maybe have a primary source of income where you're actively trading time for money, but you should have investments on the side. So as this is happening, I'm thinking to myself, okay, how do I possibly build these additional streams of income? So I was spending all of my time where I wasn't in location, and I wasn't, learning how to sharpen my sales ability, but I was also learning things like crypto. I was learning things like, sharpening my skills on how do I sell products online, because at the time, e-commerce was massive, and so was crypto. It was started drop shipping stores, start selling products on Amazon. Now, here's what's really interesting. Before 2017, I spent a lot of time kind of diving into some of these topics where I was building on my education. So once I found the opportunity, I could just jump right into it and have all the sales skills and the ability to start selling that I would need. Now, of course, being so young, I created a lot of excuses why I shouldn't just jump right in, but I was stacking the knowledge over and over and over. So throughout the year, as I had the direct experience, being an entrepreneur in business by working with that company, I was able to, by the end of it, have all the courage and discipline and finances towards the end after, thankfully, everything kind of blew up during the first crypto bull run that allowed me to quit that job and actually jump into entrepreneurship full time. Now, in 2018, I found myself in a unique area where I had a product that was first to market. Now, I had all the skills on how do I source products, how do I sell products online, but I learned very quickly that what I excelled at the most was a relatively large area in actually operating the business. However, there was one piece that I was missing, and that was effectively driving through advertising sales into the business. Now, with being first to market, I was the first one to actually have this product available, so that itself led to a very quick, sharp increase in sales. Now, that was great, but I wanted to scale. So I used my past experience from the previous role on, okay, now I need to go out, I need to start hiring people and actually build this into a real business and not just be a side hustle. So I did that. During the first quarter, I basically ran everything myself. Going into that second quarter, I started hiring people to come onto the team and actually have it be built out. Well, this is really interesting because what I learned was people will always tell you that they know this, they know that. They'll promise you the moon and stars. And I knew enough to be dangerous where I thought I was able to, kind of filter those people out, which a lot of them did, like, don't get me wrong. But there were some people who kind of slid by the cracks and just kind of, drug me along through the process, making me think things were getting done. in which case it wasn't. Well, I learned a very valuable lesson here, which is, yes, you can trust what people are saying. Number one, you should, number two, be dangerous enough to understand the business to where you know if you're getting one pulled over you or not. And then number three, fire quickly. Hire slow, fire quickly. So eventually I did a full refresh on the team. I brought in a new team that ended up doing excellent results. And then I was able to go forward from there. Well, taking it to the entire end of 2018, that scaled very nicely. However, the market was very niche. So I knew that going into 2019, I needed to switch things up a little bit. I couldn't stick on that exact same model because yes, we were still going to continue to run it. However, going into 2019, I needed to add another stream of income to my portfolio. Now, what was very interesting is that at the time, since all of these e-commerce stores were going up from other people being, preached, e-com, another big thing at the time was the social media marketing agency. Now, interesting enough, I was actually building that social media marketing agency as the background engine for my e-commerce store. So while I was developing that business for myself, as well as developing the actual sales experience of selling the products online, I was my first case study on how I can take this product to market and actually start the actual agency. So this is what I did. 2019, started the advertising agency. It started out in e-com because that's what I knew. However, my other partner in the business was also very good at lead generation and some other things that were a very good complement in the business for the ad agency. Now, my big thing was networking. I was always going to networking events, whether it be the Grant Cardones, the Ty Lopez of the world, and other ones locally. I was always meeting people in the business space and trying to identify who has that unique problem in their business that I know we can solve and actually hit the ground running without having any crazy barrier of actually seeing success. Now, a couple big industries that we jumped into. Lead generation being one of them for many different opportunities. But we found at the time the mortgage and lending industry was going absolutely crazy. So this is an industry that I met a partner who had a nationwide brokerage, and we were able to deliver some very, very good results with them. Now, namely on the e-commerce side, we worked with many different brands. We were able to scale that side of the agency, but one really stuck out the most. And this was a company that was in the pharmaceutical industry. Now, pharmaceuticals and nutraceuticals run online marketing bar none because people are always looking for that quick fix and the way that they can actually take their current problem that they're experiencing and have some cure. Now, my partner at the time was very experienced in this space. Now, we had a direct connection with somebody at this pharmaceutical company that we were able to take over their Amazon store that had all of their OTC products. Now, all of them is 6 because this company was doing everything from literally vitamins all the way up to cancer treatments and many other not over-the-counter medications that you can't just sell on Amazon. Well, when we took over the store, we were doing about $50,000 a month in sales, which we were able to grow to well over $1 million a month in sales, fast forwarding a couple years later. Now, this growth trajectory was based on my ability to actually sell and position products online to sell better, as well as the marketing piece to plug into and actually optimizing all of those listings. Now, what was very interesting about this as well is that you learn a lot of lessons along the way. You learn how to actually scale brands online. You learn how to adjust the messaging and always stay on top of trends. You're always staying on the cutting edge, and you're doing that competitive market research. You're always keeping an eye on the competition and not allowing anybody else to take one over you. So you're always staying ahead. Now, in 2019, as everything is absolutely booming, the lead generation side of the business is booming, the e-commerce side of the business is booming. I had a buddy of mine who was in the life insurance industry, and he tried to talk to me about life insurance and kind of tried to explain it, but I never really took it seriously because, to be honest, I really didn't have time to take it seriously. There were so many other things that we were already built to scale for that trying to jump into a brand new vertical just wasn't in the books. Well, towards the end of 2019, going into 2020, this is when the pandemic hit. Now, when the pandemic hit, obviously this shifted the market dramatically. When it came to the lending side and doing mortgages and loans, this business basically shut down overnight. All of our partners literally called us and they're like, hey, banks are not lending anymore. There's no money being put out. Nobody really knows what's going to be happening with this pandemic, so everything is just frozen. Well, this immediately shut down a large part of the business, and we now had a lot of time in our hands and a big team that we needed to actually reposition into other opportunities. So this is where my friend came back into the picture with a very perfect timing, we could say, where he was like, hey, pandemic is here. This is the best opportunity to start talking about life insurance because everybody is terrified of what is going to happen to their health. So we went ahead and jumped in, and we actually saw some really good results. Now, the thing about the life insurance business and many other businesses is it's all built on hierarchy, right? You, in the life insurance business in particular, you have an agent who works on a team. The team leader works for a company. The company has their contracts through another company, so forth and so on, all the way up until you get to the IMO, which is the independent marketing organization that has direct contracts with the life insurance carriers, where the contracts are being delivered to the client for the life insurance policy. Now, what we learned very quickly was how this entire dynamic worked. Now, through scaling other businesses, for example, the mortgage industry and in the e-commerce businesses, where we were always, kind of moving up, we were firing, lower paying clients and always going after the higher and higher ones, being able to open up our bandwidth and just have, higher level conversations and be able to work with business owners who were a bit more established. This taught us how to move up those ladders in industry. So what was very interesting about this one was just seeing how the dynamic worked in the life insurance business itself. Now, me and my team hit nearly every single vertical we possibly could, working with individual agents. This allowed us the opportunity to make our way up. And within about 6 months, my business started working with that IMO, where we were able to be directly introduced to people on their team, because the IMO has 50, 60, 80,000 people who are contracted with them, with hundreds of teams. So the IMO said, hey, you have this particular set of skills, work with this company because they need that. Then they told that company, hey, work with these guys because they can solve your problem. Well, eventually what happened here was we started building out products, and we started doing national campaigns where we were taking very complex life insurance products and making them very easy to understand by consumers. Now, once this business really started to grow, we started to see, and I was talking to my team and I was like, hey, we're getting a lot of money on the front end, but the back end money we're not getting. We're not getting an override on commissions. I was starting to see what those commissions looked like and what these overrides look like, and I realized that there was millions of dollars on the table that weren't actually being brought into the company because I was not licensed. Well, I went ahead and took the initiative, got licensed, and then started selling myself. Now, I really hit the ground running because in the business of selling leads to life insurance agents, I realized that, yes, you can deliver the best lead possible, but if that agent doesn't understand how to approach, then it's dead in the water, So what I was able to develop for this industry was the best leads. We paired training as well as back-end resources and technology, and then bring it all together. That formed the ecosystem that as soon as somebody came in, every single one of those needs was taken care of. Now, what did this teach me? This taught me, well, number one, starting at the very bottom of an industry, how quickly you can scale up to the top. Number two, how to identify those people at the top and how to have those conversations. But number three, how to build massive value in offers. So when you're bringing products and when you're actually presenting yourself as somebody who can provide a certain solution for a problem in the industry, you have each of those pieces of the puzzle readily available to service everything. Now, coming into new businesses afterwards, this shows me the blueprint of what is all required to run a very successful business that is scalable, and how to go to the top of the industry without working your way from the bottom up. And this is my ethos going forward. Whenever I come into a new industry, I always go top down. I identify opportunities in the market and people who I want to do business with, and they're always industry leaders. There's no value in working from the bottom up, because when you work top down, you can actually have those conversations with those industry leaders and see what are you identifying as the best opportunities, how do you recommend scaling based on the formula you've seen in this business, and then I can take my formula and put it right on top, and those puzzle pieces fit in perfectly. So all of this is moving me towards how did I get started in the merchant services and payment processing industry. Well, I have been doing a lot of traveling lately, and through my traveling, I found myself in Dubai, where I actually met one of these industry leaders in the merchant services industry. And when we sat down and had a conversation, I told him about my past experiences, what I was able to do on the life insurance side, scaling the ad agency, and some of the other businesses that I run. And he was very interested in forming a partnership. Well, this worked out great because I identified, how can this business scale? And we're going to get into this in further lessons, but also how do I take my experience in scaling other businesses and plug this in as an offer, both to those existing clients and my existing following. And then as one model of scale, how do I bring this mass market? And then how do I really push this forward? And what are the lessons that I can take from previous businesses and current experiences? And how do I make this the largest play yet? So in this school community, I'm going to teach you exactly what that plan is and how you can be a part of it, and why it is fundamental that you understand that this is an opportunity that absolutely anybody can get into and do. Everybody can make money in this industry, and there's absolutely nothing holding you back as long as you know at least one person with a business. That one connection in delivering one good result for that business owner is not only going to save them thousands of dollars in their card processing, it's going to make you a lifetime monthly residual income, and it's going to open the door because business owners know business owners. Once you are identified as that person who can solve a very unique problem for them that they haven't even thought of or even identified as something that needed to be changed, they are now going to open you up to their network. And then that is going to grow your ability and grow you in this industry, where you can start making commissions every single month. And so long as that person stays in business, you are going to have a percentage of their business through the credit card fees that are being assessed. And what's even better about this is we are allowing clients to drop those fees to zero. So business owners can go from paying tens of thousands of dollars every single month to putting all that money back into their pocket, and you are going to show them how that is possible. But first, let me show you how that's possible.